Okay, so yeah, good afternoon, or local equivalent. My name is David. Today I'm running a session of Hearts of Wulin, which is a PBTA game of wuxia melodrama, um, written by Lowell Francis. It is currently available for pre-order after a successful Kickstarter last year. It's as I said, it's a game of set in a fantastical version of China, um, with wherein you play sort of martial artists, and we're sort of exploring um, their sort of relationships, their experiences, and so on and so forth, as we look through. In particular, one of the inspirations I'm sort of taking for this run of it, we're playing with a couple of the add-ons, both the supernatural and the courtly ones, inspired by personally for both the Untamed or Dao Zu Shi, if anyone's familiar with that, which is a series where you sort of have these like powerful mystical martial arts clans who are sort of locked in sort of complex relationships and political structures with each other, with lots of rivalries and things like that. So that's kind of the motivation here. This game is being run as part of the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing group. We have a calendar that we where we publish games like this one that you can sign up for. So you can find out more about that on our website, which is gauntlet-rpg.com. I'll put a link to that down below. We also have a number of podcasts, and we have a monthly gaming zine called Codex. You can find out information about all that stuff on the website if you are interested. So yeah, that is sort of what we're here for, and who we are, as it were. What I'm going to do now is just quickly go over a little more detail about the game we'll be playing today in our CATS structure, which stands for concept, aim, tone, subject matter, and it's basically just a little way of making sure that everyone is on the same sort of page about what we're doing here. I'll sort of go through the document I've already provided, but if at any point you've got any questions, clarifications, anything you want to add, do feel free to chip in. So the concept is as I mentioned, it's a Powered by the Apocalypse game of wuxia melodrama. So that's the sort of high level pitch for it. In particular, there is it has the sort of high action that you would expect from sort of martial arts fiction, but also has a very strong focus on interpersonal relationships between the characters. As I mentioned just now, there are two sort of additional rule sets that are now available in the playtest package, for both supernatural and courtly elements to the base game of Hearts of Wulin. So we'll be using both of these. How much each or either comes into play, that will be kind of up to us all. But by adding in these, there are some. This does introduce quite a few additional moves and stuff. Certainly, while we're getting used to the game, I won't press too hard on those, but we can, over time, I'm sure we'll figure out a balance of what bits interest us and which bits we can let go by the wayside. So don't feel that you have to be kind of trying to fit everything in all the time. We'll touch on those bits of courtly and supernatural play as and when they come up naturally in play. So yeah, that's it. As I mentioned, yeah, sort of like one of my inspirations for this is the Untamed, which I must admit I've not seen all of yet because being subtitled, it's not something I can have on while I'm working, which is how I get through most of my Netflix queue. So that's so the aim of this game is for us to all tell a story about the characters that we create, how they intertwine, the troubles they encounter, all that sort of thing. This game is very sort of very much in that like play to find out line of PBTA games. So rivalries, romances, revenge, conflicting loyalties, these are all the sort of things are likely to come up. Also interesting to look at sort of interactions with clans and between clans, that sort of thing as well. The certainly the way I tend to run Hearts of Wulin, I tend to kind of put the I tend to put like the what's the word I'm looking for? Not I don't want to say the burden, but I tend to like leave a lot of it to be quite player led, but I am happy to kind of jump in and throw stuff at you as well if you want to be a bit more reactive. But my first instinct is often to ask you what you want to do when it comes to scenes. But we can again play back and forwards with that as we see fit. So tone. So yeah, again, kind of repeating myself, but it's modeled on sort of wuxia melodrama. And has a kind of similar tonal palette as the source fiction, which is to say kind of can vary quite frequently between being quite light-hearted and fun, but also then switching into sort of very dramatic and full of heavy emotion and the like. It does require a certain amount of buy-in to the tropes. A lot of the structure of the game is based around kind of some of those like wuxia tropes, but it also doesn't require like an encyclopedic knowledge of wuxia fiction, wuxia media, or the Untamed in particular. I think one of the big ones in here is that there is, it works a lot on that common sort of melodramatic trope of a lot of problems could be solved if everyone just sat down and had a frank and open discussion about things. But obviously that wouldn't be dramatic. So stuff tends to be a lot more obtuse and occluded. I've already seen in the chat at the side the words pining and yearning coming up, which is very much a feature of the genre. So that is.
Why didn't they do this? Because it wasn't dramatically interesting.
Exactly. Obviously, the other thing is that some will be kind of like leaning into these tropey type things, but also obviously should be maintaining respect for the culture it's based on. This is obviously said we will be setting this in a sort of fantastical setting rather than an actual real world setting, but it's obviously very, very explicitly based on kind of Chinese cultural tropes, superstition, folklore, that sort of thing. So just to be aware that obviously we treat that subject matter with with respect and all that. That's sort of the thing on the tone. So finally, our subject matter. So obviously there will be some violence in this game. It is about martial artists having dramatic duels and the like. However, again, in keeping with the majority tone of most of that sort of source material, it won't be kind of the violence will be more aesthetic rather than gruesome and gratuitous, like blood and gore sort of thing. I mean, there are definitely martial arts films that you can see that lean much more into that vein of things. But yeah, this is more.
The fighting is more about like the drama and the tension rather than the spectacle of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a bit of both there, definitely. But yeah, definitely kind of less focused on lots of blood and guts, as it were. But yeah. But that's sort of thing on violence. Romance again is quite likely to come up. By default, the assumption is that there will be some romantic ties between most of the characters. But so again, we'll embrace that to the extent people are comfortable with. But again, we won't be going into kind of graphic sexual scenes, graphic sexual content. It's just not really the right venue for it. There will be one of the things that sort of comes up that will come up quite a bit is sort of like interpersonal conflicting duties to families, factions, that sort of thing. And yeah, just to kind of reiterate, obviously we just make sure we're treating kind of the source culture with respect. So we'll be using a couple of safety tools for our play, just to make sure things are cool. Oh, actually, sorry. One thing I will mention briefly as well, in terms of subject matter, is obviously with some of the more supernatural elements we'll be playing with, means we can kind of end up in slightly what's the word I'm looking for? In sort of slightly more of like a horror vein. We might get some kind of ghosts and that sort of thing going on. Some mystical stuff that kind of could veer into things like mind control territory, that sort of thing. Again, we'll have a discussion about what people's levels of comfort are with that in a moment. But that just occurred to me that is sort of one additional feature that we might touch upon in this game. So yeah, as I said, safety tool wise, we will be using the X card. So the X card can basically be used if something comes up in the game that you're not happy with and you don't want to see sort of going forwards and you want to see removed. And you can do that by sort of doing like an X sign with your hands in front of the camera, by typing you'd like to X card something in the chat at the side, or just by saying I'd like to X card that. I'll give my usual disclaimer here that I am frequently like skipping between tabs whilst running, and I'm just on a single monitor, so I don't necessarily have eyes on the video and the chat screen at all times. So saying something out loud is the quickest way to get my attention. But any way of invoking the X card is fine. If we do X card something, and we can basically, you can invoke the X card. If maybe it might be because some of the content that's just come up is something that you're uncomfortable dealing with, you just don't want to get into it. It might be just tonally you feel it's a bit off. You just don't think that it fits in with what you see as how we've been playing up until this point, and you just want to say, actually, no, I don't think I want to see that right now. When you do X card something, I won't ask you to justify or explain why you're X carding it. I might need to clarify what it is that you're X carding if it's not immediately obvious from the context. But I won't ask you to justify why you want to X card it. We can just let that go. Likewise, if something you've introduced is X carded, it's no judgment on you. Just it's sometimes stuff comes up that we're not cool dealing with, and people don't want to see that in there, so don't take it as a personal slight or a personal failing. That's not a problem. We'll also be using script change. I've put a document for the script change tool into our shared folder. If you want to check that out, I'll give a quick explanation of it now. This is essentially a number of commands that we can introduce, a bit like the X card, but they're a bit more nuanced. They're essentially, if you think of like a video controls. So we have pause. Pause can just be used at any point if you just want to take a moment and stop play for a second. This might be because you're in the middle of a scene and the doorbell rings, you've got to go answer it. It might be that a scene's just getting quite intense and you just want to take a couple of moments to sort of breathe for a moment before carrying on with it. Or it might be that you want to have just a quick out of character conversation to clarify something about a scene. You might say, "Oh, I'm looking to do this in the scene. Is it okay if we move towards that?" Anything that you want to bring up at all, that's fine. We can just have a quick out of character conversation and then just get back into the play again. So that is pause, probably the most useful of all of the commands. We also have rewind, which can be used to sort of go back and change things a little bit. It might be you want to say, "Oh, I'd like to rewind. I'd like to." I realized where I said that doesn't quite match up with what I wanted. I want to change a little bit of the tone I used. It might be, actually, I'm not happy for the scene to go down this way. Can we maybe change it so that you don't threaten me or whatever? And that after all, and we do it slightly differently. So a bit like the X card in that sense. anything like that is good for. Is rewind is good for. We also have fast forward, which can be used to quickly go over something. This can be used a bit like the veil, which we'll discuss in a moment. If we just don't want to see a particular part of a scene in detail, we're happy to have it happen. We just I just don't want a big in-depth discussion of this surgery that your character is undergoing. Can we just get to the point where they have had it done on them?
Off camera, fade to black kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yep. It can also be kind of used if we feel like a scene is kind of going around in circles without any resolution. We just want to say, can we just take it to the point where there is the decision point, or so anything like that we can use fast forward for. There's a couple of others. There's instant replay for kind of going and quickly recapping what's just happened in a scene, including going, oh yeah, I thought that was really good. There's also frame by frame, which can be used to kind of go through a scene a bit more slowly with more frequent check-ins, which again might come up particularly when we're trying to sort of suss things out. But yes, I think pause absolutely most important, and then fast forward and rewind are quite useful as well. And the others have their place. So that is those are the sort of big mechanical safety tools we have. We're also playing with the open door policy. What that means is that essentially, if at any point you need to leave, whether that be just to take a quick break, or you just need to leave the session entirely, always feel free to do that. If you can let me know, whether that's just in chat or with a private message, that is useful for me, but don't feel that you have to. If you need to leave, and that's fine. But yeah, just always be aware that you have that option. I touch wood, nothing should be pulling me away from this game today. But if I just have to if I drop, if I disconnect, or I just have to switch off and leave, if I'm gone for more than about realistically probably more than about 5 minutes or so without any sort of communication, then it's probable that I've something's come up and I've had to leave. But like I said, I don't foresee that being a problem. So yeah, I think that is our primary stuff. The last thing we'll be using, we will be having we'll have some lines and veils in place. Lines are things that we just won't feature at all in the game. That includes alluding to them, having them as part of character backstories, anything like that. It's just sort of stuff we just don't want to engage with at all. And veils are things where it can happen in the game, but we just don't really want to devote much screen time or description to it. As I said, sort of fading to black and things like that when that subject matter comes up in game, or just not sort of directly engaging head on with it. We will have a quick discussion now. I'm just going to stop the recording while we do so. And yeah, I think so. I guess I will. I'll ask the question that I sort of mentioned earlier. Would people prefer to do a bit of world building first and then build characters, or the other way around? Does anyone have a preference for that?
I don't have a strong preference myself.
Sure. Cool. In which case, I think it probably makes sense for us to do a little bit of the world building first. We'll do that. Actually, the first thing I will do, actually, just so that you can kind of start giving some thought to it, is I'll just explain a little bit about how the playbooks in Hearts of Wulin work. But we'll start off with the world building and then come around to characters after. If you look on, there's a few when we actually get onto the character creation in proper. There's a few. The last couple of tabs on the character keeper are prefixed with CC. So CC1, CC2, CC3. Those are all the tabs that have to do with the character creation section of it. Obviously, because this game is still in in development, in layout at the moment. We don't have kind of like the finalized, fancy looking playbook, so it's just all in the keeper at the moment. But yeah, if you look on that CC2 tab playbooks, you'll see there are six broad playbooks, each one of which has a number of custom moves. So it has a number of playbook moves, but also they have one that is like kind of the core move for that playbook that you get to choose. So the six playbooks we have are the aware. So the aware is someone who has kind of knowledge and expertise, experience about the world in general. This is often where like this is a little different because of the I've replaced a couple of all the core ones for these with different ones from the related playbooks, but the related additional rule set things. So like the courtly, there's essentially one role for like that's from the courtly side, there's one role that's from the supernatural side, and then there's one of the original ones left as well. Just to explain kind of how those are there in sort of the standard view. Sort of like the aware is often like your sort of old master type character. They are someone who has some additional skill or knowledge of the world that the other players don't necessarily, and their specific player agenda is to show how wisdom provides solutions. You then have the bravo. The bravo is your sort of like sort of devil may care, roguish type. So their stuff often pertains to sort of like sort of getting by, living moment to moment, and their sort of player agenda is to enjoy every moment. You then have the loyal, as the name might suggest. The loyal is devoted to a particular person or cause or faction or whatever else. They're sort of defined by that relationship, and their player agenda is to express the tension between duty and self. There is the outsider, who is again quite a self-explanatory one, but someone who is, for whatever reason, a bit outside of the usual for society, doesn't quite fit in with society as a whole. And their player agenda is to act against convention. There is the student, who is often a younger character, but certainly a less experienced character, who often their stuff focuses around sort of not sort of driving things with a bit of uncertainty, and their player agenda is to revel in naivety. And then the final playbook is the unorthodox, who is usually someone with a secret or something unusual about them. There's a bit of overlap here between the outsider and the unorthodox, but yeah, the unorthodox tends to be something more about them personally, that marks them as different, whereas the outsider tends to not be part of the culture as a whole. And the unorthodox's player agenda is to conceal your truth. So those are kind of the top level playbooks that we have. Like I said, you'll see. So, for example, under the aware, you'll see that there are 3 core moves there. You can only ever pick one of those. And this kind of defines what specific variety of aware you are. So the first one is the tutor. The second one is the sorcerer. The third one is the traveling sifu. And these the one you pick kind of gives you a bit of direction for what your character is. So feel free to start thinking on those if you want. We'll go through it all in proper detail in a moment. But first, I think, like I said, we'll look to put together a little bit about the world we'll be playing in. So if we go to the Our Court tab on sort of around the middle of the playbook of the character keeper, we'll see here there are a number of drop down options. these will kind of what we have here. Sort of take it through in order. We'll start off by defining who our ruler is and learning a little bit more about them from the choices we make. So in the specific context of this, my vision, and we'll kind of have a discussion on this and feel this out more between us. But my vision is more the like I said, kind of inspired by the Untamed. When we talk about the ruler, they are not necessarily a formal ruler in the sense that they are the king or whatever of the land. They may just be the most influential, the most influential person within the Wulin world or something similar. They don't have to be a ruler in the sort of legal sense of it, but also it might be the emperor. That's kind of up to us to define as we choose to the level of like formality we want around that. We'll kind of learn a bit about their personality and about their source of their power and stuff like that. We will then have a number of factions in court who will go through, and again we'll define who their leader is. We'll define what their agenda is, and we'll talk a little bit about who they all are. There's kind of two axes to the factions. We have how what they're like what their level of favor is in court. So whether they're in favor, and there's broadly the court, and again the court here may be like a formal and actual literal physical location that everyone turns up to, or it might be again more just relevant of how they are doing in the martial world in general as these separate clans. So you obviously have ones that are in favor, ones that are neutral, or ones that are out of favor. The other axis down the side is whether they are seen as generally upright. So generally they are thought to be honorable, honest, that sort of thing, or whether they are questionable, as they are seen as subverting the proper way of things and acting against the traditions, all that sort of thing. And obviously, so as you see from the way those are laid out, we have kind of the option of them being some will be in favor and upright, some will be in favor and questionable, and various different combinations of those. Then the final thing we'll kind of do as part of our world building, here, is to have a look at what we think are interesting threats for the court, or for the Wulin world as a whole, to be dealing with, stuff that's going on that needs a response. So that's kind of an overview of what we'll be doing there. I'm thinking actually we're a little bit early, but I might say if we take like a break till 25 past, and I'll give people a time to start having some thoughts about stuff they might want to bring in here, and have a break, and then we'll come back and we'll start off our world building section of this. So yeah, I said see you back about 25 past, and we'll talk again then. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, our first port of call, as I mentioned, is to define our ruler, and sorry, just lost my place. So yeah, we will go through it. And what I'm so I guess first I'll kind of ask an open question, or I'll go around and ask people about, like I said, in a general sort of thing, how how we want our what sort of level we want this at, whether we want to be talking about kind of like a king or an emperor, or if we're more just like someone who is like a prominent spokesman or the greatest martial artist or something more in that vein. So yeah, I'll probably start doing this in order of people I can see on screen. So Stephen, did you have any initial thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, most of my thoughts I had because I initially been imagining characters within a courtly setting. So I guess I was sort of drawn a little bit more to like an actual like proper like courtly court, like a king or emperor.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, how about you, Maria? Any thoughts from you on that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I just like the idea too of how things are hard in the land, so people might not be, they don't love him too much.
Oh, sorry, you broke up for me a little bit there, Maria. Would you mind repeating that?
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, right. I'm cool with having a head who's turned the court. Kind of like the idea of the lands having some trouble, so not all of the clans are a fan of them.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. And how about you? Matthew?
Yeah, I'm cool with king or emperor stuff like that, but I think personally, in terms of preferences, I would probably be interested in exploring the idea that those who are in the court or in that hierarchy have somehow like earned their place or have a reputation for skill or for prowess.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll admit that when you brought up the idea of like a master a few minutes ago, that sounded inherently appealing. But I thought, well, that might be more interesting if it's folded into the courtly stuff.
Yeah, sure thing. And I think that we'll obviously would define a little bit about more of them in a second. I think in that classical sense, I definitely think this is well, said we will probably define it, but I definitely see our ruler as still being a force to be reckoned with, sort of thing, rather than a kind of someone who is just the sort of the indolent wastrel on the throne sort of thing. Then that may not be how everyone sees them, of course, but we'll get onto that in a moment, I'm sure. Cool. So what I'll do now is, as I said, you'll see on that tab under the bit where it says ruler, there are essentially like 3 drop downs, which is our ruler is, their demanner is, and their greatest power comes from. So again, I'm going to go through I'll go through just in the same order I did just now, and ask each of you to select one of those options. Obviously, feel free to chat amongst yourselves as well. You don't have to make the decision entirely on your own. But yeah, so Stephen, I'm going to ask you if you would like to choose something off of the drop down for our ruler is. And sorry, I did intend to put these in a more legible format for reference, but then didn't. So sorry about that.
I mean, I do like the thought that this is a kind of that our ruler, and I'll pitch this if peep folks are cool with that, that our ruler is the regent to the actual emperor. Like, I like the idea that the emperor is like 5. And that like effectively the entire court is just run by that the actual person running the court is the regent.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, nice. Go. Feel free to select regent for that. And Oh, and I will say as well, I do apologize in advance. The way these drop downs work means sometimes if you've got a couple of people looking at the drop down at once and one selects something, then it sometimes blanks out again. So we may have a bit of back and forth on that, but I will try and keep things up to date. Anyway, so yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So Maria, would you like to pick one of the options for their demeanor? So this is kind of like how, what they look like. And again, if like you or someone else thinks, oh, actually, there's a couple in there that would be cool in combination, that's great as well.
I feel like they're like really old, but they have incredible chi or something.
Yeah,
like they're like it's the kind of thing, you're still alive kind of thing going on. It's like, oh, okay, that's how badass they are.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
I think there's that's very surprising to me, considering that he's going to be taking care of a child, but I think that also creates a very interesting dramatic tension, the idea that that he is on in years, but also like, out of all the people that exist, that he's the one tasked to be regent.
We're just very quickly making Oliver Cromwell.
Yeah. But that's cool. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Like, yeah, venerable master, as it were. But yeah, who's like looks old and decrepit, but is actually a force of power. Brilliant. Did you, Maria, or anyone else have another option that you would like to pick up for that list, just to define them a bit further?
So wait, you mean under the demeanor option?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, does anyone want to kind of add anything on to that? It doesn't. You don't. No, there is no requirement to. But if anyone has another one that they think would go nicely with that idea of them being this sort of older figure.
I would like to make him popular.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll just type that in the one below. Except that.
Like, yes, definitely fawn over old man. Yes.
Cool.
Because that I say popular because that ties in, like, not to be preemptive about this, but like, I assume that you might have prompted me to check out the greatest power thing.
That's right. Yep, that will be the next one if you like to.
And I had it in mind to make it that this greatest power comes from military favors. So I just like this tension and pull of the idea that he's old, but he's got like he has a very secure form of support from like past successes and in the military, as well as favors and all that stuff. And because of his contributions to, or his successes in the war, it's made him popular. And you could even argue that it's one of the reasons why he ended up becoming regent and ended up being allowed to, to hold a position of authority in the court for so long.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like it.
I'm gonna pick that out on the greatest power thing already, just to.
Sure thing.
All right.
And yeah, does that sound good to everyone else? Cool. And the next thing, and again, this one's just an open call. Does anyone have an idea for a name for this character? I'm definitely thinking that their formal title is probably like, general or marshal or something like that. But we can come back onto that in a moment if no one has an immediate thought. There is also a kind of list. Go for it.
I kind of like how in the Mask of Zorro there's a captain named Captain Love. So I kind of like the idea of him being called General I.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good to me.
If everyone's cool with that.
Yeah.
I literally had to double check Maria just to be sure that love was also the same character in Chinese. In yeah.
Yeah, cool. So was that General I you said? Sorry, Maria, just to clarify. Yeah, perfect. I will just type that in. Lovely. Cool. That is our ruler. So we have this, and we can sort of define a little bit more about the actual emperor if it comes up. But the main thing we know about them now is they're a young child, and yeah, General I is the venerable custodian of the throne in their infancy. So within the court, we have some different clans, all of whom are in some fashion both powerful in the sense of martial skill and also sort of political power. How much so obviously depends a little on their current view of their current level of favor, and this in this case this will primarily be that the favor we're talking here is the favor of General I, and his immediate entourage and the immediate sort of governance of the kingdom. So once again, I'll go through these in order. Or well, I will go through yourselves in order and ask for. So for each of these factions, so most of these are just the name of a clan, and then we also have the 11 Devil Perfection Society, who are a kind of, well, we see we'll learn probably a little more about who they are when we get to defining them, but the clans will just have a name. If you want to give them a little bit more detail about a particular thing they're known for, whatever, that's also cool. But for now, we just have those sort of names there. So as I said, we've got the ones that are in favour, neutral, and out of favour, and then we also have the ones that are seen as upright and the ones that are seen as questionable. So I'll start sort of we'll start with the ones who are in favour, then go through the ones who are neutral, and then go through the ones who are out of favour. First off, Stephen, I'm going to ask you to choose a leader for the Wang clan. Again, there is a drop-down list with some names in there. If you wish to choose one of those, if you wish to come up with something of your own in place of that, that's also cool. But those are there sort of as an inspiration. And if you have some sort of thoughts on what that tells us about the clan as a whole, feel free to sort of chime in with those too.
Yeah, I do. Like, I'm kind of thinking one way or the other. I'm gonna go with Exorcist Pang of the Ivory Seat.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Nice. So
Because
yeah.
I was kind of like thinking back and forth between them and Abbot Wei, because I do like the idea that they have some association with holiness.
Yeah, certainly. But yeah, so I'm imagining that this is probably his title and role is probably as a title within the a role within the government itself. That's kind of his official position. If that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. And so Maria, I'm going to ask you if you would like to set the agenda for the Wang clan.
Yeah, I'm probably glory for the faction. I feel like um, even I just like the irony of them being holy, but also being very prideful. Like
Yeah,
they have
yeah,
long tomes of all their best leaders.
yeah. Exactly. It's
They
not.
like being, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's
They
not
like being
just.
called, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not enough to it's not enough to do good. You've got to be seen to be doing good. It's
Yeah. Totally.
uh,
Like they are the most holy
yeah,
in a sense.
yeah, perfect. I like it. And yeah, so next we're going down onto the Shang clan, who are again, they are in favour with the general, but they have a bit more of a questionable reputation in court in general, for whatever reason. We'll I'm sure learn in a moment. So yeah, Matthew, if you would like to choose the leader for the Shang clan, once again, you can choose an option off the list, but if you want to choose something different, that's also cool.
Sorry. And I have chosen Zemin the Merchant.
Awesome.
I figured that in his rise to favor and authority as regent, and during the campaigns he like emperor, regent, general, are we going general, regent, anyway, I recognized the value of the tradesfolk, the merchant folk, to like the empire, and so he's always um he's always sort of like kept them close in terms of like thinking about the future of the country and not just limiting his interactions to the military.
Cool. I like it.
But of course, people are like, merchant person in the court, what? That seems kind of shady, hence questionable.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that their desire is to gain office, in this case specifically the ivory seat.
That is fair. That is fair.
I like how you just basically went from like, we should like give them the benefit of the doubt, but also they're totally not trustworthy.
Yeah.
Awesome, Steven.
I mean, it's fair. They're the merchant class. They're the ones that generally get overlooked in any like feudal society. So they want to be granted the best position in the government.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's cool. So next we are onto the Chan clan, who are again just going through our things. They're obviously neutral within within the court. They are not they're neither particularly in nor out of favor. But they are generally seen as upright and out for the right reasons. So Maria, would you like to choose their leader?
Lady Glassheart, they like taking care. They have a wide collection of orchids that seem to follow the light in an odd manner.
Perfect. I like that a lot. Yeah, Matthew, would you like to choose an agenda for the Chan clan, something that they are after?
Wait, was that me or was that?
No, sorry, that was Matthew for the agenda.
Oh, right. Sorry,
So
I didn't
sorry,
hear.
I didn't make it clear that. Sorry, I was muted. I didn't make it clear that I actually heard you, and I'm actually hovering around in choices.
No worries. No, that's no problem. I also wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking at the sheet as well, so I had I had a moment of confusion too.
Ooh. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I think I would put her on end of feud.
Cool. We might see when we detail out the other the other clans, we might learn of a feud between them. Lady Glassheart's interested in stopping, so that's cool. So yeah,
I like the idea that she has so many. I like the idea that she has a lot of children.
Yeah, that's cool.
That she's trying to use and move like chess pieces to assuage everybody.
Awesome. Yeah.
Maria, are you talking about like our fictional mothers here, or are you talking about like local Filipino?
No, I'm talking about Lady Glassheart.
Sure.
No, definitely not. No, I'm not.
Perfect.
What are you talking about?
Lovely. So yeah, next, so Stephen, for the leader on this one, we have the Liu Clan, who are again neither particularly in nor out of favor at the minute, but have a bit more of a questionable reputation. So who do we have leading the Liu Clan?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of the General Kang, but I don't want to. I just have to. I just like this one too much. I think Lei the Huntress, which I think is both a literal reference to the fact that she is the greatest bowwoman in the nation, but also a euphemism for the fact that her clan are it's an open secret that they're assassins.
Yeah. Yes, it's obviously a staple of the genre is incredibly famous assassins. Because apparently that's a thing you can be. So yeah, no, that's perfect. And Maria, if you would like to set the agenda for the Liu Clan.
Can we just make it straightforward and they also want to advance into power? Like they all just want the same thing so that it's messy.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that definitely
But
works.
I feel like just to add a different spin to it though, it's also payback. I feel like Lei and General I were like really old friends. Like Lei the Huntress is also, I mean, much younger. What do you call this? Like they might have like a 10-year age gap or something, but in the height of I's exploits, they had Lei with them of the Liu Clan, and yeah, she always thought that she could cash into that relationship, but nothing happened. So she's just kind of like, vengeance. You don't give it to me, I will take it.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. That brings us on to the Wu Clan, who again are currently out of favor with the general and the governance, but are seen as generally upright. Matthew, if you would like to choose their leader.
Actually, if you don't mind me, I wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit in slight detail on the Liu Clan.
Oh yeah, no, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Like one of the thoughts I had was like, that maybe laid up one of the later huntresses was that goals? Is that what it's called, or agenda? Sorry, one of her clan's agendas is like I really liked the advance in power. It was one of the things I thought of, and but I was also interested in silence dissent. But I think that's still compatible with the two things, with the idea that the Liu Clan wants to advance in power, but one of the means that which they do it is by using their assassins to silence dissent, because it is only when society or the empire has its like is in an apparent state of peace that they are actually able to operate their true agenda uninterrupted.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that sounds
it's
good.
like why that they're neutral within the court because
Yeah,
their assassins nominally are working for the court.
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-mm. So you had a different. You were prompting me for something else though.
That's right. No, that's fine. Yeah, so yeah, if you'd also like to choose the leader for the Wu clan.
Seen as upright and out of favor. Ooh.
Yeah.
I would say Brother Mercy. The name Brother Mercy, I'm not sure what it is, whether he's a monk or something of that kind, but it invokes to me someone, who probably pursues a more pacifist or way of life, and I think that's what makes him seen as upright, because he's seen as him in the Wu clan as upright. They're honorable, they're principled, but they're
Oh.
out of favor because they refuse to cross a line that would have benefited either the regent or the regent's ward or the empire in general.
Yeah, I'm thinking because they're out of favor. Do you think Brother Mercy used to be like General something else, but then when he refused to do that, like they're like, okay, you're gonna have to go become a monk, or we're executing your family.
That's freaking cool. I like
Yeah.
that. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Because I
Awesome.
do think that like he's like he's the person in the that everyone in the Wu clan respects, even though he's no longer their official leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I do think the Wu clan's desire is to prove his innocence to the court.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm kind of curious if the Wu clan's color scheme is like a light aqua blue, so that even if they're out of favor, they're coded as peaceful.
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely. Perfect. No, that's really nice. I like that. And our last
I love this
group.
I love this world building stuff, like this momentum that's building
Yeah.
up.
So our last group is the 11 Devil Perfection Society. So Maria, would you like to choose their leader?
Why am I always drawn to all the like old adjectives? I'm like, Maria, choose something else.
As a psychologist, I don't think I should be discussing that with you on record.
What? Oh my god.
Anyway.
Oh my god. Wow, Bitter Dream sounds nice. I think I like Sixfold Sorrow the best though. I feel like they always have like a couple of fans on them, and yeah, they.
Oof.
You broke up for you glitched out for all that.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, so has Sixfold Sorrow. So there's like wait, let me think of something. I think there are 6 sorrows, and they have like they're trying to perfect children. Am I going to work with Matthew on the children thing?
We actually I at least trying to create. I at least didn't catch any of that again. I don't know if David or Matthew did.
Oh, okay. I will. It's okay. I will repeat again. So the sixfold sorrow is that they have like 6 fans, like 6 leaders, and they all collectively have 11 demon children who are striving towards the perfect form of a martial art.
Nice. I like it.
If that's cool with y'all.
Yeah, that's nice. And I like it maybe if the through either mystical means or just through like disguise, if no one's ever certain which of them they are talking to, so they're just referred to like collectively. That's cool.
This might be a little absurd, but I'm also thinking like sixfold sorrow, like everybody else in in their clan, like has fans, and they're called sixfold because he's the one with they're the one with the smaller fans that are only sixfolds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. It's like the order of their birth is the number of creases on their fans. So
Yeah.
there's like that one guy who just has one fold. There's just one in the middle.
Cool. I like it. So yeah, that means finally we get around to Matthew. If you would like to choose the agenda for the 11 Devil Perfection Society.
Ooh, let's see. These are all so good. I guess when your name is 11 Devil Perfection Society, they put all the saucy agendas in here, huh? Stephen or Maria, do you have any suggestions?
I kind of like the idea that the Liu, what you suggested, that in the Liu Clan that they're trying to what was your term, like stop the
Silence
coup
dissent.
silence the dissent. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking this is them and they're trying to stop the grand project of the Liu. So basically the Liu and the 11 Devil Perfection Society are basically like
Yeah.
Sorry, Steven.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay, I'll say a few things, and then I want to hear your input too. So this is truly collaborative. I don't think of what Maria. I think what you described doesn't feel like a grand project to stop delay. That sounds more like a campaign, but
Okay.
I do think I like the fact that you brought up the idea of trying to tie in the 11 Double Perfection Society's agenda with the Liu Clan. In which case, I would say that they're trying to put. I would suggest that they would be trying to put followers into power, and that is the source of the dissent that the Liu Clan is actively trying to stop. But now I want to hear what Steven has to say that might elaborate or be a better idea.
Yeah, I was also thinking in terms of placing them against, because when you said talk about Stop Grand Project, I was wondering if there was like Exorcist Pang perhaps was, for the glory of his faction, was working on like a grand ward that would seal the nation off from demon kind or something like that.
Oh snap! I like that. I like that a lot more. If only because we haven't really we didn't really start building ties until like the middle section, and I feel like Exorcist Pang hasn't really been tied into an existing conflict with someone else. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
It could also be both true. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, definitely. I think those. I think that yeah, them trying to get their followers in positions of power and trying to interfere with that are definitely not mutually exclusive drives.
Yeah, but I think they would prioritize the Exorcist first. I mean, just cognitively. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So yeah, I think that's good. We've got a good flavour of these different fractions out there. So our next thing is we have this list of threats to the kingdom, the court, call it what you will, that are there. I'm going to ask each one of you to choose one of those. Then we'll see kind of what we've got and if there's any additional ones we think like tie in with that. And again, if you want to add something different onto any of the onto this list, that's also cool. If you have a different idea. Yeah, I'll just go back around. So Stephen, would you like to choose one of these threats to be facing the kingdom?
Oh. Like, I do, because there are a couple that are calling out to me based on the fiction we've established so far, but I think I want to focus in on that a valuable artifact has been discovered. And that this is perhaps a key part of why the Wang Clan and the 11 Devil Perfection Society are gearing up their conflict over this Grand Ward recently.
Yeah, maybe some like heavenly seals have been unearthed or something along those lines. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's cool. Maria, is there one of these threats that's calling out to you?
It's bad omens, but also just twisted in a way that it's like a prophecy, perhaps about the said artifact being discovered, and to overthrow the shining ruler, which is like another way they refer to General I. And the clans have different feelings about that prophecy.
Yeah,
and there's
cool.
like several of it being revealed every time we kind of reveal our own PCs kind of shit.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I like that. That idea that these seals or whatever you call them are coming into that. That is cool. Thank you. And Matthew, did you have one of these threats that you think would be interesting to see in play?
I checked off alliance among old enemies. So
yeah,
I think given the nature of Eyes Rise to Power and all that stuff, everybody recognizes that the only way to really undo the empire or the regent's claim and of leadership, is to work together. Because guys like, Guy was a strategist, Guy was a tactician, Guy was the one who made alliances. So obviously, how do you get at that guy, right?
Yeah, certainly. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So just an open question now. Are there any of the other threats on here that you think we would like to see, or you think that we've already kind of touched on in what we've heard?
I think that kind of to pull it together, I think there should probably be a conspiracy for an overthrow. Like, I don't think you can have a I think that like a 5-year-old emperor is always calling for a conspiracy to overthrow them.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah, so that is great. So I think
like flooding.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see if we'll see if there's some other characters we can bring in on that as well. But yeah, no, that is great. So what we'll do now is I'll quickly go over the mechanics of character creation, such they are. and then while during and while I'm saying this, if people want to start putting together their characters, the first thing I will do is I will just quickly do a poll around to see if there are particular playbooks that people are interested in, so we can get an idea of what people want to go for.
What pick playbooks and make characters? I thought we were making a series Bible.
Indeed. We'll have to actually bring in some people to play in this now. Yeah. So as mentioned, the six playbooks we have are the I should be able to do this from memory, the number of times I've run this by now, but I still have to remind myself. We have the aware, the bravo, the loyal, the outsider, the student, and the unorthodox. Stephen, did you have any preference amongst those?
I did have I actually ended up having several ideas now for the unorthodox, if that's the first one, but I'm also perhaps interested in the I think I could do any of the other ones, I think, really, but I think unorthodox is the one that I have several ideas for at the moment.
Perfect. And Maria, did you have a preference for playbook?
I actually also like the unorthodox, but also the student. But I just want to see the what's this? The painted skin, change your physical appearance and dress instantly. I just want to see that. Like, it doesn't have to be me. it's just like a random wish. But for students, I'm kind of like being proud youth, like someone's sibling or something. So since we've inserted a bunch of families in the clans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Matthew, how about you? Did you have any thoughts on playbook?
I right now I'm thinking about the setting that we built together, and the one that I think would give me the opportunity to explore the most interesting spaces of it to me would be the Bravo. But right
Nice.
now I'm also scrutinizing the other ones, but definitely I don't feel like I have any overlap with the other players' interests in the unorthodox or
Yeah,
yeah.
Certainly. So if people are cool, if Stephen, if you want to go unorthodox, Maria, you go student. Is that cool with both of you?
Cool.
Yeah, perfect. So feel free to like start thinking about like moves and all that stuff. But I'll explain how this is. So I'll say the if you look the CC1 basics tab, this has basically the step-by-step guide to creating a character, which I'll be going through. But like, so do feel free to like read ahead and start doing all of this stuff if you want. That's fine. I will obviously be available to ask any questions if you want, but obviously most of this I'll just be letting you get on with it. So the first thing, obviously, or you can come back around to this as the last thing, as I tend to do, which is choose look and appearance and names, all that sort of thing. There's some suggestions for different adjectives and stuff there. Feel free to dip into those or not as you see fit. The second thing, this is your fighting style. This is associated with one of the 5 elements. Which is duplicate there, but so which are earth, fire, metal, water, and wood, the classic 5 Chinese elements. I've just tabbed out. So this is mostly a descriptive thing. So you pick a cool name for your style. This is obviously the most important thing. There is a one of the tabs, the final one, I believe. No, it isn't the final one. I forget which one it's in. One of them, anyway. I'll dig it out in a second. There is like a list of example names if you ever want to dip into that, but feel free to come up with your own stuff. Everyone can fight unarmed. That's just a thing that you can do, and your style will generally have a weapon associated with it. But this is purely just as a cool descriptive thing. The actual weapon you're using never really matters. It's more just about like the fictional positioning. Obviously, if you fight with a bow, then you can engage people from a distance and all that sort of thing. But it's just something to kind of give us a bit of flair to the character. You will also be, as I said, you will be picking an element that your style is associated with. That is more important. You can. So this is obviously always the peril of explaining rules, but as I go back and forwards. But the 5 elements that I've just mentioned, those will act as your stats, and I'll get onto how you choose the stats for those in a second. The system in general uses an approach that's used in the Veil, and I think at least one other game, where you don't most moves in the game don't have a fixed stat associated with them. You say you obviously set up what you're doing fictionally, and then you say, and I'm going to use this element to roll for this move. You'll see on the character sheet itself, each of the elements has a few kind of like approaches, adjectives, strengths associated with it. So, for example, earth. This has to do with things that it has to do with caution, focus, and presence. Fire has to do with creativity, speed, and passion. So, if you describe yourself as like staking out, there's a role. To sort of impress an audience. If you say come in and start being very deliberate and relying on your personal charisma and sort of stage presence and stuff, then you might say, oh, I'm going to roll that with earth. If you're being like, getting the crowd worked up and stuff, then that might be saying I'm using passion there, so that's fire. It's very much up for you to basically choose which stat you feel is most appropriate for the situation you're in. That's cool. The exception to that is that whenever you are doing fighting stuff, to put it simply, you always have to use your style element. So if you've chosen your martial style uses earth, then you always have to roll earth for your doing combat, basically. And this does also mean there is a possibility you can have your elements marked, which means you cannot roll them, which means if you have your martial style element marked, you are not capable of fighting. You've essentially been temporarily disabled from accessing your fighting skills. So those are things to be aware of. So while we're talking about your elements, I'm going to talk about your stats. There are 3 sets of stat modifiers that you can choose, and you can arrange these in any order you want. As I said, this is probably easiest to just reference this from the tab, but I will read through them anyway. You have the first one, which gives you a +2 in 1 stat, a +1 in 2 stats, a 0, and a -1. You then have one that gives you a +2 in 2 stats, a 0 in 2 stats, and a -1. And then you have one that gives you a +1 in 3 stats and a 0 in 2 stats. You can choose any one of those three options and arrange those stats in any order that you would like, as you see fit amongst your stats. So that's fine. You then have your playbook. Obviously, as I mentioned, you choose which one of those you want to play. You will have one of your core moves. As I mentioned, these are the 3 moves on the at the top of the list. You get to choose one of those, and you can only ever have one of those. That is something that's essentially core to your character, who they are, what their role is in this story. You then also get the option to pick 2 moves from their playbook that are sort of down under the line, as it were, that are down towards the bottom. You can pick any two of those moves that you would like. You do also, I will point out at this point, especially like while we're getting used to this game, if you just want to pick one for the moment and then pick the other one up during play once you get a better idea of your character, that is also perfectly cool. Don't feel that you have to have made all the decisions up front. If like we play a session, you think actually I don't see this move coming up. I thought it was going to be a good idea when I took it, but no, I'm not. I'm easy with switching stuff around like that. That's fine. There is another option that you have. Should you wish, you can choose a supernatural move in place of one of your playbook moves at the beginning of play. These are added on a little drop-down list, and they're elsewhere in the thing. I can't remember exactly where I've put them. Forgive me, but these are supernatural playbook moves are the final tab. So there are two types of these. There are two types of these supernatural moves. In that tab, in the first column, there are some very specific moves. So as an example, the first one is Shadows of Deep Dreams, which lets you have basically visions of other places and act on the information you find within them. There are 6 of those. Each one of them has, like I said, a very specific thing it does. Then in the second column on that sheet, there are also some basically templates for custom moves. This is if you want to have something that's a bit more personalized to your character. These are 4 things. So you have it gives you examples on here on controlling an aspect, summoning an aspect, and transformation. So for instance, controlling an aspect might be something like firebending in Avatar. It allows you to control an element, do stuff with it. Transformation might be when you enter a fight, you take on the form of a demon and do stuff. These moves require a little bit more work. We just have to kind of do a bit of writing of the move, which we'll generally do in between sessions. But if you do fancy taking those a supernatural move in place of one of your basic playbook moves, absolutely feel free. If you just don't want to look at that right now because there's already more than enough to look at, also perfectly cool. You can always pick up one of these supernatural moves as we get experience in play anyway, so that's an option. You can always look at those going forwards. Like I said, if you feel like it's just going to be overwhelming and not something you want to bother with at the minute, absolutely fine. Don't feel you have to.
Well, it's on the table. It's free real estate.
Exactly. So those are there. Do feel free to check those out. So that is choosing your moves. As I said, 1 core move, 2 other moves. That's either 2 playbook moves or 1 playbook move, 1 supernatural move. That's those are the moves. What we'll then get onto following that is the point when we'll kind of come back together as players. We'll describe our characters. We'll do our entanglements. Entanglements are basically, they're always relationships that link 3 characters, 3 or more actually in some cases, characters together. And we'll come back to those and look at them properly as a group together. So that's fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go away and grab some more water for a start. But I'll probably in fact pause the recording for a little bit, just give you some time to start looking through, choosing those options. Feel free to take a break at any point if you want to. We will I'll be back in a few moments, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the process. We'll take this fairly leisurely. Once everyone's happy with the mechanical side of their characters, then we'll get back together and start on the more collaborative, building out links between everyone. So yeah, cool. Does anyone have any quick questions before I take a short break? Or are you okay to just start looking through? And as I said, do as well, feel free to take a break whenever you want. Don't feel that you have to be sat here doing homework the whole time. If you want to go and get a drink or whatever, that's cool.
I'm good. I just had some questions for the other 2 players.
No worries. As I said, I will be back in a couple of moments, but I'm just going to go and grab some water. Awesome. So yeah, I'm going to now, like I said, I'll just go through in order first. Just get you to tell us a little bit about your character, what you have for them so far. Once we've introduced all 3 of them, then we'll start working. I'll explain sort of entanglements and how they work, and we will we'll start building those out between all the characters, and we will. And that should be. I think that should be it. Then so. I'll go through in character keeper order. So, Stephen, if you'd like to introduce your character, tell us a little bit about what they're up to and who they are.
Yeah, hi there. I'm Steven, he, him, and I am playing Six Finger Lament, who is a demon, one of the 11th. Actually, I might as well go with this. Who is the 11th-fold child of the Devil Society, who Yes, it is literally, my picture is literally just, literally, I typed in Zorro and anime, and that's what I got.
Perfect.
But I am I have taken up this identity of Six Finger Lament to fight the 11-fold Devil Society and stop them from bringing about their dark plan for the kingdom. And I still am working out who my secret identity is, because I did take the Shadow Whip, which I have a complete alternate identity within the court. The one that, like, I take off the mask and no one recognizes who I am.
Yeah, perfect.
But I have my fighting style is the broken foot dance, which I kind of take from the idea that I have this very kind of eclectic fighting style that seems preposterous to anyone who sees it. Thus it has the reputation of being the broken foot dance, since it seems like I have a kind of movement, the kind of movement you would only make if you were terribly injured in some way, I guess, is my thinking. But yeah, that is Six Finger Lament.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you. So yeah, next, Maria, if you'd like to tell us about who you've got for us today.
I apologize in advance for my shitty internet, but this is Shenren. They are of the Chan clan of 1,000 orchids. They have unassuming but stable hands. My peg for them is basically garden softy girl, or like them. And they are usually wait, let's see. I'll look back to the combat later, but basically their moves is younger sibling. They understand devotion and dedication. The What's her name? The glass. Uh, mm, Wait.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, Lady Glassheart. That's right.
There you go. Yeah. Lady Glassheart has really taught them to be sensitive to other people's bonds and connections. So they have like a special understanding with what moves people. Their state of divinity, when you use comfort and support in conflict situations, it clears wounds. And they have, of course, love and destiny for the Supranational Playbook, which is basically because they're so, because everybody comes to the greenhouse to get better. You have a bunch of NPCs who have like a baby crush on Shenren, who appear magically in hard situations. So you can imagine that their conflict, their battle style is a little bit unorthodox, more on using chains and collars and all ceremonial sword. I actually typed demon collar before I thought we were gonna have a demon, just because it's like a throwback to one of my older games, and I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be referenced. And that's it. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you picking Demon Collar did push me towards playing my demon versus my other idea.
Nice. I like it. That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Maria. And last but not least, Matthew, if you'd like to introduce us to who you'll be playing.
Right now, I will be playing Wei of the Wang clan. My peg for him is kind of like a dumb detective. So, meaning that he is associated with with Exorcist Spang and is sort of like seen as a sort of a blunt instrument to investigate things that are going around in the empire. But more often than not, the way I see, like he has to resort to unorthodox means in order to like get to the bottom of things.
Awesome. I like it. Sounds fun.
Mm. I have to admit, I'm still fine tuning some of the flavor aspects of the character. Like I know where I can go mechanically. Like that's not difficult. It's really just all the flavor stuff.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. That can certainly come. We can learn a bit more about that once we get into play.
Yeah.
So no, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. So the next thing we're going to go on to is Hearts of Wulin uses a thing called entanglements. So these entanglements are basically bonds. Sorry, no, I won't use the word bonds because that is a mechanical term. These are relationships between your character and at least two other characters. That tell us a little bit something about them and about the world as well. So the way these work, and I see some of you select some of these already, which is cool. You'll see obviously on that tab, it's called CC3 Entanglements and Names. And that's where the names are, which I was looking for earlier too. There are a number of different options here. There are two basic types of entanglements: romantic ones and general ones. By default, everyone will have one romantic and one general entanglement. Like I said, having one of each is preferred. If I think judging on some of the stuff for lines, but I don't think anyone will have a problem with this. But if you do have any issues with like having a romantic entanglement for your character, then we can avoid that if it's not something you want to deal with. But otherwise, yeah, we generally have one romantic, one general entanglement. These are kind of grouped by on that tab are grouped by playbook, though you don't have to necessarily pick one that is associated with your playbook. They're just obviously themes that playbook is kind of intended to bounce off of. So it's sort of suggestion for those. You'll see there are like essentially three groups of those. This is because I've just copied the ones from the standard playbook, the ones from the courtly variant, and the ones from the supernatural variant. You can take any ones that are, you can basically take any of these, but again, you don't have to look through them all if you've spotted a couple you like already. The significance of these entanglements is that whenever at the beginning of each session, you will choose to highlight one of these entanglements. Basically from within the session, if one of your entanglements like features in our play, then you will earn XP at the end of the session. You'll earn 1 XP. If it was your non-highlighted entanglement, you'll earn 2 XP. If it was your highlighted entanglement. Also, sometimes you will have to make a move, which we'll come on to next time once we actually start playing proper, called Inner Conflict, which is basically a move to see how you deal with sort of tensions between what you want to do and what you should do. Those sort of questions, which will often be triggered by somehow interacting with your entanglement. You'll also have the opportunity to choose an agenda. I just mentioned that now because it's right underneath the entanglements. Your agenda is something that you want to achieve, a task that you want to achieve, something you're working for. This is again specifically a feature of the courtly playset, but it's there as a sort of more general thing. Again, your agenda, if you try and act against that, can trigger internal conflict, and also working towards it can earn you XP. So that's what those are there for. So with these entanglements, you'll see most of them have 2 blanks for character names to be slotted into them. So, for an example, let's see the one that Steven's chosen already is I love blank, but they've declared their hatred of my kind after what happened to blank. So obviously we slot in some names there. The only restriction on this is that at least one of your entanglements has to include at least one PC. You can include NPCs in them. It's just you can't only have entanglements with NPCs. You have to have at least one PC in your entanglement somewhere, and you may have more, as well. That's also fine. But that's kind of just like the minimum requirement. You have, that you have at least some ties to some of the other PCs, and with currently the three of you, I don't see that being an issue. Obviously. I need to check in. We may have an additional player next week and the week after, in which case we'll slot them in with entanglements then. We do also have the opportunity at the beginning of each session to play about with entanglements anyway, so we can always adapt to new players coming in as need be. We will absolutely be having, touch words, all being well, in a couple of weeks' time we'll have a new player joining us for the rest of the run, but we'll see that in time. But as I said, for the time being, you can just sort of we can work in NPCs, and we can always rework the entanglements as we get new players joining. So I will just check in. I think, okay, cool, everyone has chosen their 2 entanglements. So what I'll do now is I will go again, just go through around in character keeper order. I'll ask you to choose one of your entanglements to sort of read out. You can go in either order, that doesn't matter to me. Either if there is someone in specific that you would, in terms of PCs or NPCs, you would like to mention, bring into that, feel free to ask them if they would like to be involved. If not, then or if you are alternative, if you want, so that there is an open question, who would be interested in being this person in my relationship? That's also cool. With that, so Finger Lament, sorry. Would you like to read out one of your entanglements that you're interested to get some?
I brought this up before, but just because we have a monster hunter that I love Wei, but they have declared their hatred of my kind after what happened to blank.
And then I have an unrequited love towards said demon. So that is just a perfect triangle.
Who was it that was hurt by a demon or something along those lines? Like who is this? What happened to Wei?
Let's see. I think that might slot into something good over here. Let me make sure that I have it down correctly. So I have a general entanglement. All right, here I am. I'm making it complicated already. I have a general entanglement that says I fled from blank because of the heartache, but blank, their lover, has called me back to honor a debt. And I think one of those blanks is the person you hurt.
Sure, that sounds good.
And yeah, so and also I just want to I know we're gonna get to me eventually, but I just want to say that thank you for that, because I already wrote into the entanglements that I suspect blank knows of my friendship with this secret monster, and God, who is that? Possibly, I don't know. So I'd say I suspect Exorcist Bang to know that of my friendship with secret monster Finger Lament, and the idea behind that is that they're deliberate. They're not telling me this, but they're deliberately leveraging the friendship, just to sort of keep tabs, or have more information or access than would be normal.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to everybody else.
No. That sounds good. That sounds good. Perfect.
I'm gonna fill in that thing for Stephen though. Let's see.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. If you just want to give thought to a name and sort of a quick thumbnail on who they are, but
Yeah.
So I have. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, and I have the other one I want to throw out to Xien Ren is that your friend blank is another of my kind, but I cannot reveal them without giving myself away.
Oh, wait, am I unmuted? Oh, there you go. So, damn, so I have 2 demon friends? My god, I bet
Yeah, like
my clan is so stressed about me.
Yeah, I think though that this other one is like actually like working for the 11-fold Devil Society.
I want to say Boom Boom, and they're like a giant owl that could transform into a regular looking person. But they're not as good as a shapeshifter as you, because they can only transform into an owl.
Mm-hmm.
That's like really cute. I will look for a photo of them, but I'm also cool if you have like ideas of what they look like.
I mean, I didn't have any particular ideas. I wanted to throw that out to you. But I mean, just to clarify here, I think the premise of the entanglement is that you don't know that they're a demon.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't like you don't know that I'm a demon, and I can't reveal that they're a demon without revealing that I'm a demon.
yeah.
Damn. Okay. Now I understand more. I'm still sticking with the owl thing, but yeah, I feel like
I think that they do not transform into an owl in front of you.
Yes. I feel like Boom Boom's like a regular archer who like trains with like my older brother a lot, and that's why I am familiar with them. And they cook real nice. You know, it's more of like a sentimental thing about not Boom Boom. They cook me the best noodles. No, like they look super. You know, if I'm a sunshine child, like they're giant sunshine child, like muscular sunshine child with like big rara arms. So it's like, no, I don't believe you. It would break my heart if I knew.
Yeah, and I think that just to play into this, because I still need to come up with a name for my other or what I am, but I'll probably think on that for next session. Is that
That's
probably like Finger Lament is probably, given the setup here, you know, Finger Lament is a demon, but not the my secret identity at court.
So you're still thinking of a name for what your name is in court?
Like, because I'm
Okay.
kind of still thinking of like, who am I at court is still kind of what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, sure thing.
So I'm not sure you noticed in the chat, Stephen, but I mentioned that I filled in a name that you for the entanglement you placed in with Zayshan.
Cool. Thank you. Perfect. So, brilliant. Thank you for that. So yeah, then Shenren, if you'd like to read out your entanglements.
So if it's okay, I have a mutual unrequited love between Finger Lament, and it's because of my duty to the Chan clan, but especially to my like older brother Jin, who I just want to be a detective. A detective, like they know Wei and stuff. And yeah, they just don't want me like this specific family member really does not like the 11-fold Devil Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To make it absolutely
I mean,
clear,
that's fair. I don't either.
Yeah. And then my other entanglement is I discovered my clan senior. Wow, I'm introducing so many NPCs. I'm just gonna drop like images in the chat.
Perfect.
Or a tab. I discovered my clan senior Zhang Li has been learning techniques from Sixfold Sorrow, master of an enemy clan. Yeah. So wait. I actually could make. Oh no. So technically, wait. Let me see them in my mind. So my older brother, Detective Jin, he's the responsible one. He's the one hanging out with the Ways. And then you have Bobo, who's like super adorable. And then you have John Lee, who's like my crush, but is learning techniques from the Sixfold Sorrow. Basically, Sixfold Sorrow has everybody I like. and it's just sad. Yeah.
And to finish tying things together, is the person who is Zhejian's, is that pronouncing it right, or am I for Matthew in that entanglements?
Yeah, well, I don't know how to pronounce it myself
Okay.
either.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, I was just asking because you wrote it in.
Yeah. Zechan, I think it's from the list.
Yeah. Is their lover Jin?
It can be now.
Because like you're both detectives, so I feel like you probably know each other.
Oh, just to be absolutely clear, I said dumb detective as like
Yes.
a peg, but he's more like
Okay.
but he's a monster hunter, so
Okay.
not anything close to like to what would
Yeah,
evolve to be
I
my
just thought
detective.
because Jin also has the enemy of the 11-fold Devil Society.
Mm-mm. I think it would be very interesting if his notion of pursuing the 11-fold Devil Society is more like on the side of law, whereas like my pursuit my investigation into monsters or demons is more out of like more fugitive oriented. Sorry, vigilante.
Yeah, and I think to clarify something about one of the entanglements, because I do kind of want to write that in right now before we go too far along, that is that I sort of liked more the idea that that like what happened to Zhejian is not like my fault, but rather another demon's, like because I do like that idea that the hatred is not for something I did, but for something
Yeah.
my kind did.
Yes, a very displaced sort of form of
I also like the idea that it is entirely Boom Boom that did it.
Yes. Go Boom Boom.
Perfect.
And I don't mean to be like enforced heteronormativity or anything like that for my character, but like the way I see it is that Zeishan and their lover, like they were two femmes. Yeah. So both characters, just to be clear, both characters are femmes. So my character, yeah. So.
Okay.
Yep. Cool.
So in that case, do we want the lover to be Jin, or do you want to, or like, do we want to keep them separate, or do you want to, or do we want to
keep it
change older sister then, or something? I just wanted to check in with
let's just keep it as Jin. Actually, I prefer that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. No, that's cool. And I think we have covered all of our entanglements. So yeah, I think unless anyone has any last questions or anything else they want to bring up or discuss now, I think we're probably good here. Does anyone have anything else they want to? Oh, sorry, one other thing. Just while we're still on entanglements, you'll see just above where you've written in your entanglements, there is a little list for bonds. Basically, you start off with 2 bonds with 2 different characters. One of them is a character from your romantic entanglement. One is one from your general entanglement. Bonds are basically a sort of an in-game currency that you can spend to do stuff. We'll get onto the precise ramifications of that, when we get to it. But that's so you can choose. So basically, one character from each of your entanglements to have a bond with at the start of play. But yeah, like I said, unless anyone has any other stuff they want to discuss, question, clarify, once we're all done with that, I think that's probably us for today. So thank you very much, everyone.
Wait, I just want to send a photo of Jin.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
no
unless
worries.
someone put in the chat.
I will also just add in a quick tab for NPCs, which at the minute will just be a blank tab, but oops. So we can putting pictures and stuff in. I will probably.
Yeah. I'm excited. This is so juicy stuff.
Yeah, no, we've definitely got some good place to start from, I think. So yeah, I think as I mentioned, I don't know. We may be getting Nate from next week. I just need to double check. I know he said he couldn't make it, but when he said he couldn't make it, I didn't know if he meant just today or like in general. So I will check in. If not, we'll have like unless someone else joins up in the intervening time, I'll have a couple of sessions where it's just the 3 of you, and then we've got I think hopefully Bodhi should be joining us from November onwards, basically, and we'll have a 4th player then, definitely. But yeah, cool. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to stop our recording now.